Well, I got another video review for you guys today. I'm going to be installing this EcoHitch on the back of my 2024 Toyota RAV4. Now this hitch here fit the 2019 through the 2024 model RAV4, and the reason I chose this one is because I wanted something that was going to be right in line with like my exhaust. I didn't want nothing to hang down any lower than the exhaust system, because I've got one of those platform that fits into the receiver. It's called a pack mule, and I wanted to be able to run the pack mule hooked into the receiver and it not hang down really low. So that's one reason why I wanted to go with the EcoHitch, because number one, I thought it looked the best. You know, I don't want something hanging down really low and it just makes the back of the vehicle look cheesy, you know, makes it look more like a truck instead of a, you know, a sportier type of vehicle. So I wanted something that was more hidden. Also, if you notice right here on this hitch, you've got the arm that hooks up to the frame, but then you notice that it angles back. Well, the reason I wanted that was because, let's say at a later date I want to put like a MagnaFlow exhaust on this thing. You know, I want to be able to clear those big exhaust tips, and so I figured with this leaning in, I figured it would give me a little more clearance for, you know, some bigger exhaust tips here on the back. So hopefully that'll work. I'm not sure if it will work or if it won't, but it just made sense to me that, you know, since it angles in, it would give more clearance. Also, this thing is a beast. I mean, the tongue weight on this is 750 pounds. Now, you know, you probably never put 750 pounds of tongue weight on this, because, you know, this thing's probably not capable of, you know, handling that 750 pounds. But, you know, the hitch is strong enough if you desire to put that much weight on there. I'm not going to. Now, the hitch is rated for 5,000 pounds. I don't think the vehicle can pull 5,000 pounds. I think this one here, since it's an LE, I think it can pull 1,500 pounds. I believe the other models, I believe they pull up to like 3,500 pounds. So, I mean, the hitch it's overkill. But, you know, with that being said, I don't have to worry about it breaking, and, you know, don't have to worry about it being flimsy or any of that kind of stuff. So that's one reason why I went with it. Now, obviously, this is not the cheapest hitch that you can buy for the RAV4. There's a lot of others out there that are cheaper, but again, I didn't want to have to remove the whole rear bumper fascia and all that, and plus there's like a little aluminum piece that you have to remove on some of the other pieces. I didn't want to have to remove that to be able to install the hitch. I wanted to keep that on there in case I was to get rear-ended. Plus, that's another thing with this hitch, with it being so strong, I figured if somebody did rear-end me, that it would probably keep me from, you know, getting hurt as bad, you know, put some metal between me and the other car. So I can't guarantee that. I'm just saying that's my choice of why I decided to go with this one. We're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm gonna take my hook and I'm gonna hook it on the coil spring there, hook it on the coil spring on the other side, and that way I can tighten this up a little bit, and that way it's not going to droop down. Now, a cam buckle strap is going to be a little bit easier than having to do a ratchet, but you can see it's just going to hold it just a little bit to keep it from sagging down right there while I take and remove these rubber bushings. Put a little bit of WD in there and get them lubed up, and then I've got a pair of hanger removal tools. You just put them on there just like that, and you see how easy that bushing come off. I mean, literally it took me like a second. So your other isolator is right here on the driver's side, and again I went ahead and sprayed it. And you don't have to have this tool. You can use a pair of you can use a screwdriver if you wanted to. You could use a pry bar, but you've seen when I let down right here, the exhaust dropped a little bit, like probably an inch or two, and that's the reason why you keep that strap on there, is so it don't drop and damage the exhaust. All right, so we went ahead and removed those 3 rubber isolators. Literally took like less than 5 minutes to remove all 3. And then next, it says in the old directions to find the center of the rear fascia, and that's this piece right here. And you know, this model here is an LE, and so there's no kick sensor to open the rear cargo area, and so I don't have to worry about that. But you know, if yours does have that kick sensor, make sure that, you know, you watch where you make your cuts back here, because you don't want to cut any of the wiring or cut the sensor or any of that stuff. Now, like I said, this model here is an LE, so it's going to be a little bit easier because there's none of that back there. You don't have to worry about none of the wiring or nothing. You can just, you know, measure from the center of these little tabs here, and then find the center of the fascia, and then make your cut according to the directions. But like I said, if yours has got that kick sensor, make sure you just don't go cutting, or you might cut into something that you might need. All right, guys, so the next step is to measure between these tabs. I don't know how well you guys can see the two tabs up here at my fingers, but between the two tabs on my car, might be different on yours, so make sure you measure it. I've got about 16 inches to the between the two tabs, so 8 inches is your center. And so what we did to make a straight line going up is I just used a little small speed square and just stuck it in there just like that, and then measured it or drew it out with a silver Sharpie. That way we could see where the heck we were cutting. And you know, also it said to go up, I believe, 4 inches high. I didn't want to go 4 inches because I believe that this little piece right here will hang down and it'll look better without cutting all 4 inches off. So you guys do what you want to do. I'm going to stop a little bit shy of the crease right in there. I'm not going to take it all the way to the crease, simply because I think that piece will just bend up since it's so flexible, and that way I won't have to get into that crease and you won't be able to see no cuts right in there. So the next step for me to cut this out is I plan on taking and using just a drill bit to go ahead and drill it out there in the corners, and that way I'll have a radius bend there in the corner. And then as far as making my straight cuts, I'm going to use a set of razor cutters like this. They're just like they're called handy cuts from Sears. I've had these things for years and they cut really good, and I've cut hoses with these and all different types of plastics with them, and they seem to cut really good and make a really straight cut, because it's, you know, obviously a razor blade. So that's how I'm gonna make my cut, and I'll be able to reach in and make that cut from either side, and hopefully I can get it nice and straight, hopefully. So we'll see how it turns out here in just a second. Now keep in mind, you know, you are going to have to cut this out to fit around the receiver tube right in there. So there's going to have to be a little bit of clearance on each side. It's not going to fit, you know, just absolutely perfect. There's going to be a little bit of room on each side of it, so it has a little bit of room in there. Anyways, make sure you measure 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and cut once. So good luck. All right, guys, so I made my cut with these Craftsman handy cuts, and you can see, you know, if you look at my cut versus some of them other videos out there, there was no cleanup to do. I didn't have to go back and deburr this plastic. It's not crooked. I mean, this is a perfect cut, guys. I mean, literally, I just stuck it up in there and cut it, and then I was able just to push this piece up. I mean, literally, that's what it looked like before I cut it. Now I can just take and bend it up out of the way, and you know it's gonna fit up in there. And yeah, it turned out really good. Just take your time and go slow, and you know, if you got a pair of these razor cutters like what I got, it really does help. If not, you could use a jigsaw, you could use a sawzall, you could use one of those oscillating tools, you could use a utility knife, you could use a plethora of different tools to cut that out. But I just thought, you know, that razor cutter would be the best, and it left the nicest cut surface. So I gotta say, I'm very pleased with it. Now another thing too, if you're going to use a silver Sharpie like what I did to mark it out, and you need to remove some of the Sharpie, let's say you got it on the plastic, you can always just use some brake clean or acetone, put it on a rag, and it'll wipe it off. Alright, so the next step is you got to come up here to the frame, and you can see that there is a little plastic sticker over the frame. There's one there, and then there's one right here. And you're going to take just a little razor blade, and you're going to just slice the sticker up and off. Very simple. And this was a smart move by Toyota to put that little sticker on there, because it keeps all the crap from getting in the thread of the frame right there. And you know, it was just a smart move on their part. So thank you, Toyota, for putting that sticker on there. So for your next step, all you got to do is just take the hitch and point this end like going down, and just wedge it up in there and turn it up. Literally put it in there the first time, didn't have any problems with it, And literally everybody talks about this side over here being tight on the passenger side, and it is a little tight to get a wrench in there. So make sure that you have several different types of wrenches. You know, some of the guys used like a torque wrench with some crow's foot, and you can do that. Or you know, they've got dog bones with a torque wrench, but you know, you can also use like an offset wrench. If you don't have those fancy tools, you can use these. Just make sure you at a later date torque it down to the desired torque. But you know, you can also use a 19 just on a regular combination wrench, or you can use a 19 on an offset wrench. And now keep in mind, on this side over here, on the passenger side, you're not going to be able to go crank it a full turn. You know, I mean, you don't have very much room, so it is kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt to get in there, but it's very doable. I mean, literally, me and my girlfriend did this, you know, in like under 2 hours. It wasn't a big deal, and that's with us videoing, and you know, there's just not much to it. I mean, literally, this the hardest part was probably cutting it out right there on the fascia, so this would fit. And I gotta say, it fit absolutely perfect. But you can see it fit perfect. And then right here at the top, I said that I wasn't going to go all the way to this seam right in here, and I didn't. I stopped probably from this upper seam right here, I stopped probably a good inch before I got to it, and I was able to fold that little flap up underneath there. And I gotta say, I mean, it fits like a glove. I mean, literally, I couldn't be more impressed with, you know, us fitting it up in there, and it looks better than any of the ones I've seen on the internet that other people installed. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it myself. So another trick for you is, you know, if you are trying to hold this thing up there and get it in place, you can always just take a board, you know, and kind of push up on it to kind of get those holes aligned. You know, that way your partner's not struggling and you can help them out. You know, just stick a board up underneath there, and literally it went on very easy. Now all that we've got to do now is just tighten everything back up with a torque wrench, which, you know, we just got through doing on that side over there. I wasn't able to do it on this side because I didn't have any of the 1/2-inch dog bones, all the ones, or the 1/2 inch of crow's foot. All I had was the 3/8. So I guess that's going to be a tool I have to go buy, and you know, I'll just swing by Harbor Freight and buy some cheap crow's feet. They don't cost much, and for no more than what I'll use them, you know, that'll be good enough for me. I'm gonna go ahead and get it all buttoned up, and we'll see what it looks like here in just a minute. But you know, if you're wondering about doing this, you know, job, it's not difficult at all. It does help if you have an extra set of hands to help you hold that hitch up in there and get it lined up. So, you know, that is very handy. But you could easily do it yourself in the yard. Now it is, you know, going to be a lot more strenuous trying to hold this up and get it in place, but it's still doable. All right, guys, so we got this side over here torqued up. We're ready to go. All we got to do is install the exhaust system back into the hangers. The final part is this. If you want to install this right here, and what this is a way to hold your 7-pin plug for your trailer wiring, or you can put your 4-pin plug off to the side there, and this will mount just like this. So me personally, I'm not going to mount it, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to use it. Just simply because, you know, I don't plan on, you know, doing a lot of towing with this hitch. Literally, I just wanted it so I could haul my pack mule around. But as far as pulling a trailer and things like that, I'm probably not going to be pulling, you know, a trailer very much. But if I do, I'm just going to take and run the wiring out the cargo rear hatch and run it down to the trailer. That way, you know, your wiring's not out in the weather all the time. You don't have to deal with trying to run the wiring out through the bottom. I'm just going to run it out the hatch and put a little extension on there. And that way, you know, you might say, well, you'll mess that wire up opening and closing the hatch. Well, that's why I'm going to run an extension. They make some 4-pin extension that are like, I guess you can get them 1 to 2 foot. So if that hatch closes on, if it damages the wire, you know, over time, then so be it. I'll just replace that extension. But anyways, I'm not going to run my wiring through this. You can if you want to, but I'm just going to choose not to. But as far as the installation, very, very simple. As far as the hitch, very strong, very impressive. I love how it tucks up, and I love the fitment. I'm very, very pleased with the look and fitment of the hitch, and it looks like it's going to be a unit that, I don't think you'll be able to break. And you can see right here on the sides, guys. I mean, look at that. Nice and tight fitment around the sides, around the fascia where we cut it. And then the same on the other side. I mean, it just turned out great. Couldn't have been more impressed. So all I got to do now is just connect these isolators up to the exhaust system, and we should be good to go. And so, like I said before, the reason I wanted to put the hitch on there was because I might put a trailer on here every once in a while, but mostly I wanted to be able to haul this pack mule around. One thing to mention is if you're interested in getting like a pack mule like I did, you're going to need one with a rise, and they make a couple different ones. They make one with a straight shaft like this one here, and you can see it's too low. It really needs a rise to it. But they make one with a 4-inch rise and one with a 7-inch. So I'm probably gonna go with the 7-inch. So that'll raise it up to about right in here. All right, again, the tongue weight on this is rated at 750 pounds. And so you'll easily be able to haul the pack mule around, because I think it's only rated for about 500 pounds. Now, if you put a rise on it, it lowers the capacity to, I believe, 350 pounds. But you know, I weigh a little over 300 pounds, and this thing ain't got no problems hauling me. Now, I put together some pros and cons of this hitch, and you know, the pro for me was you do not see any kind of tube sticking down with the hitch. It's all hidden behind the fascia, so you know, you can't see anything. So I like that feature. And then also you got more ground clearance. Now you can see right there that to the very top of the receiver on the pack mule, it's right at 1 foot, and then to the bottom of it, it's 10 inches. So you got just a little bit less than a foot of clearance. The only con is it's $375. I mean, but you get what you pay for. You don't see no cross tube across the bottom. It fits in there perfect, and literally it was an easy install. I really appreciate you watching. I know this was kind of not a very, you know, fun video. Nobody likes installing hitches, but you know, if you're sweating doing this job, it's not hard at all. Literally, we did it in the backyard in just a couple hours, and just with simple hand tools. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Vox is going to be sponsoring me with a set of 19 by 8.5 inch wheels to go on the RAV4, and so it's going to look really good. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, see ya.